العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن دعا بدعوته واستنى بسنته وسار على نهجه إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد, my brothers and sisters in deen, I enjoin upon you and upon myself the fear of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. My brothers and sisters in deen, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, the Exalted, is saying to us in a verse of the Quran, precisely in Surah An-Nur, that وَمَنْ لَمْ يَجْعَلِ اللَّهُ لَهُ نُورًا فَمَا لَهُ مِنْ نُورٍ. Whomever Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala did not show light can never see light. We are faced with a series of problems, and for us to be able to get out of those challenges, we have to identify, the cause of our problem. And one thing Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala made us to understand is that for one to be successful, both in this life and in the hereafter, one of the basic things that we need to take care of is our character. And by the time we take our time to study most of our problems, they are all consequences of our behaviors. And that is why at every step you discover that Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, or the wise ones, always talk about character, that is, they talk about behavior, or they try to show the importance of behavior. As I do say from time to time to my brothers and sisters, take for instance, you go to school, you write exam, you may pass the exam, you may fail the exam. You pass, the school will give you certificates showing you passed. You fail, they give you certificates still showing you failed. But whether you are, behaviorally, that is character-wise, even if something is wrong with your character, you will always see that the testimonial that will be given to you by your school is that at least they will say your character is satisfactory. I usually say from time to time, I've never seen and I've never heard that someone presented his testimonial anywhere and it is, the testimonial takes unsatisfactory. To show the importance of character. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala also in a verse of the Quran, one of the most important things He used in praising our noble Prophet ﷺ was what? His character. He said to him in a verse that وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. You stand on the best and most noble character. And he, the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, told us in a hadith that ultimately what Allah sent him to come and do is what? Fulfill noble character. He said in a hadith that إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ لِأُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ. He said, I have been sent to fulfill noble character. So basically, for us to have a successful life, both in this world and in the hereafter, we need to work on our characters. We need to work on our characters. Unfortunately, we have a society that actually, you will have a problem somewhere, but we are searching for the problem in another area. Today, most of us, we focus on individuals more than focusing on issues or focusing on problems. We fight ourselves on tribal basis. We fight ourselves on regional basis. We fight ourselves, Basically, we fight on things that we are not supposed to fight for. Because there are things that you can never change them. There's nothing anybody can ever do in this life to make all human beings same type. Allah have created the world, and He says in the verse of the Quran that Ya ayyuhan nas, O you mankind, inna khalaqnakum min dhakarin wa untha. We created you out of a male and a female. وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا. We made you into, tribes. وَقَبَائِلَ, into قَبَائِلَ, وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا. We made you into nations, وَقَبَائِلَ, and tribes. He said, for what reason? He said, لِتَعَارَفُ, to know one another. But what distinguishes us is that inna akramakum, the most dignified amongst us in the sight of Allah is who? Atqakum, the most God conscious. So the most ultimate thing or things we need to get closer to Allah or to have a successful life, first is consciousness of Allah, at-taqwa wa husnul khuluq. That is righteousness, that is consciousness of Allah and good behavior. If you want to pick people for anything, one of the most important things you look at is what? Their God consciousness and their what? Their behavior. If you want to have the best civil servant, look for the one who wants to be a civil servant who is also God conscious and have good manner. You want to have the best army officer, get an army officer, get somebody who wants to join the army, who have good behavior and have what? And is God conscious. You want to have the best businessman, get the one who is God conscious and what? Morally upright. It works in everything. You want to pick the best husband. Maybe someone comes to marry your daughter. If you want to know whether the person is right, is okay for your daughter or not, the Prophet, what did he tell us? He said, إِذَا جَاءَكُمْ, if someone comes to you, مَنْ تَرْضَوْنَ, whom you are satisfied بِدِينِهِ وَخُلُقًا. With what? His deen. إِذَا جَاءَكُمْ مَنْ تَرْضَوْنَ دِينَهُ وَخُلُقًا. If someone whom you are satisfied with his deen, that is taqwa, وَخُلُقًا, and what? His character. You say, give him your daughters. Or if it is a lady that wants to pick a husband, the husband you will be safer in his hand is the one who fears Allah and the one who is what? Morally upright. So if you want somebody to trust, the one you can trust most is the one who is God conscious and also what? Morally upright. You want anything, you want the best inside. It has connection with behavior and God consciousness. The most God conscious people will be the most upright people. There's no doubt about that. The most upright person is the most God conscious person. And the most God conscious person will be the most, will be the best in character. That is why if you want to know your level of righteousness, the Prophet gave you a yardstick. He said, Akmalul mu'minina imana. He said the one who have the best of faith among the believers. Akmalul mu'minina. He said the best of the believers. Akmalul mu'minina imana. The one whose faith is the most perfect among the faithful, among the believers. He said who? He said ahsanuhum khuluqa. The one who have best behavior. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, that's why the Prophet is a role model to anybody. None of us can be role model to him. Why? Because he fears Allah better than us or more than us, and he knows Allah better than any of us. He said, Inna a'lamakum billah wa atqakum ana. He said, the one who fears Allah most and the one who knows him most is who? Himself. Because knowing Allah, because where some may not get it is that they think when they say somebody who fears Allah is the one who prays more in the mosque. Somebody may pray more than you in the mosque, but he doesn't fear Allah like you. We must. So the one who spend more time inside mosque doesn't mean he fears Allah more than those who doesn't spend time inside the mosque like him. It's a wrong interpretation. The fear of Allah means someone, one who fears Allah is the one who believes in Allah and is ready to live his life in conformity with the injunction of Allah. That's the meaning. And Allah's command or Allah's injunction have connection with every aspect of your life. That is why when you pray more than someone, he can still be better than you if his character is better than your own. That's why Muslim says in the hadith that one of the things that puts people more in Jannah is consciousness of Allah and what? Good behavior. And what puts people into hell most is what? Their tongue and their private part. And why is someone who fears Allah will have the best of character? Because that person will only want to do what Allah wants him to do. So one who is God conscious will be afraid of oppressing people, because he will remember that Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala said, "Inni haramtu dhulma ala nafsi wa ja'altuhu bainakum muharrama." He said he will remember that Allah says he prohibited oppression on himself and he made it haram between us. If one who fears Allah, he will not cheat you when you come to do business, because he will remember Allah says, وَيْلُ لِلْمُطَفِّفِينَ الَّذِينَ إِذَا اكْتَالُوا عَلَى النَّاسِ يَسْتَوْفُونَ وَإِذَا كَالُوهُمْ أَوْ وَزَنُوهُمْ يُخْسِرُونَ أَلَا يَظُنُّ أُولَٰئِكَ أَنَّهُمْ مَبْعُوثُونَ لِيَوْمٍ عَظِيمٍ. Because anything he wants to do, he will not do it except he asks himself, how did Allah ask me to do it? One who fears Allah will not see an elder, whether he knows the elder or not, and disrespect the elder. Because he will remember that the Prophet says, "Man lam yuwaqqir kabirana wa lam yarham saghirana falaysa minna." So that when you pray very well inside mosque and you stand and you are abusing an elder, that time you are doing what is against the commandment of Allah. Then that time you don't fear Allah, and in that circumstance, yes, you feared him in the mosque, but in your dealing with the elders you don't fear him. So that reduces your mark too. Allah will write sin for you for this, for your disrespecting the elder, because it is Allah who commanded you to respect your elder. If you have someone who fears Allah, he will respect his leader. He will not disrespect his leader. He will not disobey his leader, because you will remember Rasulullah says in a hadith that what as-sam'u wa ta'a, obey and what? Listen and obey. In what you like and what you don't dislike, so long as he did not command you with what is against the will of Allah. Or if somebody is a leader who fears Allah, he cannot sleep when he knows those under him are what? Suffering. Because he will always remember that Allah is going to ask him about the life of those people that have been entrusted to him. That's what we mean by the consciousness of Allah. Consciousness of Allah is something that goes with you every second of your life, not inside mosque alone. In your office, there is consciousness of Allah. On the road, there is consciousness of Allah. Like as I used to say, one who is conscious of Allah, even those sweeping on the road, he will reduce their work. I used to say, yes, on a lighter note, he will not eat. If you want to drop something for them, what will he drop? Instead of eating the gala and dropping the paper, what will he do? He will keep the paper and give them the gala. If you eat gala, instead of throwing the paper at the right place, what do? You throw it on the road. You say there are people sweeping. But as a mu'min, what you are taught is to remove things harmful to the people on the road. Today our drainages are filled up, because we have people who don't fear Allah pertaining to how they take care of the drain. Somebody will pack those bin from his house, and what? If there is rain, what happens? They throw it in the drainage, and it will not go. After that, you will begin to shout to the government. The government is not doing their job, and you are doing your job, Abi. By pouring your dustbin inside what? Inside the drainage, that is inside the gutter. You are doing your job. The government is not doing his job. Because fear of Allah, consciousness of Allah is about everybody. You want the leaders to fear Allah, and you too supposed to fear Allah. When you don't fear Allah and they don't fear Allah, even if they fear Allah, you will still suffer them. Because they will be clearing the drainage. What happened? You will be feeling it. You give them unnecessary work. The money that is supposed to be used in buying drugs and other things, you make them to spend it on what? Packing the dustbin. But when you pack your dustbin and throw it at the right place to reduce the work, when you throw it in the drainage, first they have to do the work of packing it outside, which is another job, which is another payment, before also loading it to carry. So, my brothers and sisters, indeed, we all need to check our character. And as parents, like I used to say, we all need to begin to work on our children. If we want a better tomorrow, then we need to work on the character of the children we are raising now, because they will be the leaders of tomorrow. So long as we all believe that the behavior of the children we have is not what we expect, then don't expect good tomorrow. We want good tomorrow, then let us change it today by changing ourselves and begin to enlighten those, who want Allah wa ta'ala entrusted to us. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه أما بعد عباد الله أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله. Brothers and sisters, indeed, let us all work on our character. Like I said, your level of perfection or closeness, the level of closeness of your character to that of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that shows your level of iman. It shows your level of iman. You cannot just think that yes, your iman is about your salah. Yes, you observe your 5 daily prayers, you do your nawafil, but on the road, there's nothing to do. You don't have any business to do with Islam. The Prophet didn't teach you that. What did he tell us in the hadith? He said, ittaqillaha. Be conscious of Allah. Haythuma kunta. Wherever you may find yourself. And one of the most people in the hadith transmitted by Imam Ahmad and or Tirmidhi and so, Imam Tirmidhi and Ahmad or Imam Tirmidhi, in that hadith, the Prophet is saying that those who are more closer, who are more, closer to him, who are more dear to him, and will be most closest to him on the day of judgment. That is, in terms of, closeness, on the last day, are who? Those who have good character. So your good character can give you what another person's salah and fasting will give the person. It is better you take care of your compulsory salah, compulsory fasting, your hajj, your other things Allah made compulsory upon you, and maintain good character, than doing some of those nawafil, and at the end of the day, the character, what happens? You don't care. Today we've seen what that have led us to. Our challenges is lack of consciousness of Allah, and as well as character. It's the one kidnapping. What makes him to kidnap is because as at the time he is kidnapping, he doesn't care about Allah. That time Allah's injunction is not working with him. What is pushing him that time, what is controlling him is money. So money is more important to him than what? Than Allah. So that time he can go for anything. If you say ittaqillah, that time it doesn't work. وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُ اتَّقِ اللَّهَ أَخَذَتْهُ الْعِزَّةُ بِالْإِثْمِ وَحَسْبُهُ جَهَنَّمُ وَلَبِئْسَ الْمِهَادُ. Some of them, one of the worst crime you can commit before them is to tell them to fear Allah. Because that time, that is a big crime. Because if he will do that, he cannot do what he's doing. If he fear Allah, he will not harm you. If he fears Allah, if he sees you in problem, he will want to help you. What gladdens his heart most will be to help you, not to suffer you. That is what if he fears Allah. You will care about your neighbor if you fear Allah wa ta'ala. Like as I do say, even some little things we play with, those who fear Allah, they are major things to them. Even common horn. Somebody who fears Allah, if he's in the car, when he is horning, he will ask himself before he horns. I know it sounds trivial to some of us. Common horn. I do give us this example. So check yourself. How do you horn when you move in your car? Fear of Allah has connection with how you drive. If you drive and that moment Allah doesn't work, as at that moment you will be committing sin before you get to your destination. Because any horn you do which disturbs somebody unnecessarily, you will have a sin. That's what distinguishes a Muslim from somebody who is not a Muslim. Because a Muslim knows everything about his life is documented. That's his belief. Every second. There is no second of the life of a Muslim that he thinks Allah have nothing to say with that, have nothing to do. He believes every second, except the one Allah decides to forgive him. But if not, every second, the way he looks, the way he talks, the way he enters the toilet, everything you do is documented. And that is why those who did not think in that direction, they will come on the day of judgment. Their book of record will be given to them. And when they begin to see some things, and they begin to wonder, and they begin to comment, saying, Allah wa ta'ala narrated that to us. He said that they will say, Mali hadal kitab. What kind of book is this? Because they are wondering about the kind of details it is taking. If your fellow human being will give detailed, will monitor details of your activities, what do you think of the creator of the world? If your fellow human being will want to monitor you, will want to make sure he knows what you do, and you think the one, the wisest of all, then will be careless about what he does. So they will come on that day, when their book of record is given to them, they will say, Mali hadal kitab. What kind of book is this? La yughadiru saghiratan. It will not bypass anything. Saghira, no matter how minute wala kabira, no matter how big, illa ahsa, except it took note of it. Even cough is documented. Because when you cough or you sneeze, what do you say? Alhamdulillah. And you say Alhamdulillah, nothing will happen. He will have reward for it now. That's why a Sahaba, when Muslim was talking about sadaqah, about charity, he said you're having conjugal relationship or intercourse with your wife, you will have reward for it. Then the Sahaba say, oh, you the messenger of Allah, will one do what he likes? Will one do what he likes? Because even if they are not giving you reward for it, you want to do it. He said, will somebody do it? Yes, that is it. He said, will somebody do what he likes and he will also be rewarded for it? Then he now asks him, what if he do it in a way that Allah prohibits? Will he be what? Will he be punished for it? So if he will be punished for doing it the wrong way, then he should be rewarded for doing it the right way. Common sense. So my brothers and sisters, indeed, we want to change our nation. Don't think changing anybody will change your state. If you want to change anybody, the changing of somebody who will change your state is when you change somebody who will change your character. I want us to get this. If you change, because Nigeria, like I do say, nothing is wrong with Nigeria. Nigeria is perfectly okay. It is the people living inside that something is wrong with their brain. So the day we correct the brain, the country will change automatically. So it is our brain, it is our thinking, it is our behavior that we need to work on. You don't need to change the name. If you like change the name, it doesn't change anything. Like I do say, we focus on what is not important. If you change the name of Nigeria, it won't change anything, so long as the people maintain a behavior. But if you leave the name, you change their behavior, the country will change. If we divide it, it doesn't change anything, because it is those same people, everybody is only going to go to every section. And every section will also be full of what? Atrocities. At that moment, a different fight comes up. You have South Sudan and North Sudan. I mean, yes, it's divided, but its fight did not end. They still fight, because everybody is not fighting for the right thing. We are not fighting for justice. We are not fighting for what? For the right purpose. Everybody is fighting for selfishness. Everybody is fighting for material reason, not for the right reason. But those who fight for the right cause, they defend anybody. A good Muslim will make sure a Muslim does not oppress a non-Muslim. That is a good Muslim. But any Muslim fighting for Muslims and he wants to oppress the non-Muslims, then he's not fighting for Islam. That time he's fighting for selfishness. He's fighting for greed. And he's fighting for not the just cause but unjust cause. So any tribe fighting for their tribe and fight, at the detriment of other tribes, is not fighting for right cause. He will finish the fight and he will regret the fight. I want us to know this. So any fight you want to make, fight for what? Justice. Fight for right cause. Fight for right cause, Allah will be behind you. You want Allah to be, those who win at the end are those that Allah is behind. And Allah has His own condition for being behind anybody. When you fight for justice, when you fight for the truth, when you fight to make sure everyone gets what he deserves, then Allah will be behind you. But when we fight to oppress, when we fight to what? To still establish injustice, it won't take us anywhere. So my brothers and sisters, indeed, we all have responsibility of changing our communities, of changing our nation. We all have responsibility of changing the entire world, not even your own country alone. You have responsibility of saving anyone that Allah bring you close to the person. Because Allah will ask you about anybody that have ever crossed your way. Let's take note of this. Wallahi, anybody that ever crossed your way, Allah will ask you about that person. That's why I say, even if it is car, you drive by the road, horn, you will have reward or you will have sin. So take note of that. It's not just horn. To you, it's just horn, but to Allah, because that horn means something. Sometimes you intimidate others with your horn. Sometimes you scare others away from the road with your horn. You oppress others. You force others out of the road when you don't have any emergency. There's reason for some of those things we do. The traffic we see and other things, some of those things come from our disobedience, impatience. Or some are on the queue, you want to pass by force. And like I said, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter who you are. Whether you are a poor man or a rich man, whether you have, status in the community or not, that doesn't change. Because whatever you have as a Muslim, your own goal is to use it to bring, peace and harmony into your community, not to use it to oppress the people. So that's why anything you do, if you want to change your life, nobody is perfect. Like I do say, even all of us, even those of us talking, are struggling to be upright. Because like I do say, Shaitan is fighting all of us. He's not leaving you, he's not leaving me. You fall sometime, I fall sometime. But we all need to work towards what? Doing the right thing. Your aim, your goal should be doing what Allah expects you to do at every point in time. In terms of how you relate with the people, in terms of how you relate with your workers, in terms of how you relate with those that are under you. With that, we can be able to change our nation without anyone even doing anything. Because no one can change this thing beyond Allah Ta'ala. The day all of us are ready to submit to Allah, Allah will make some changes beyond what we expect. We pray Allah Ta'ala will do that for us in our country. We pray that each and every one of us, Allah Ta'ala will make us conscious people who will walk towards doing the right thing. Our shortcomings, may Allah Ta'ala forgive us. And what we do that is right, may Allah Ta'ala reward us for it and strengthen us on the right path. Our leaders, may Allah Ta'ala give them the patience, the fortitude, and the fear of Allah Ta'ala to do things that will bring good to the nation. And then those on the right path, may Allah strengthen them. Those on the wrong path, may Allah Ta'ala guide them. Those looking for job, those looking for business, those looking for this and that, we pray Allah Ta'ala answer everybody's prayer. Doors of blessings, doors of wealth means we expected, means we never expected, may Allah Ta'ala open it here for each and every one of us. Our children in school, may Allah Ta'ala see them through their education. Our brothers and sisters all over the world, those who are involved in vices, may Allah save them from it. Those kidnapping, may Allah save them from the kidnapping. And those who are being kidnapped, may Allah Ta'ala compensate them in the things they've lost. And then we pray Allah Ta'ala, Allah will bring peace to our nation. رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ.